Hey everybody, welcome to the Popcorn Power Hour every Sunday at 3 o'clock, and I hope I'm not too late. I know that I was a couple minutes late. I was trying to get Shine online to be my co-star, and I actually was able to get a version of him online. I plugged in his audio, but I couldn't get the video. Next week, I'll have his video, so where he actually pops up every time he talks. And this week, what I'm going to do is every topic I start, I'm going to initially, I'm gonna say what the topic is, and then I'm going to ask Shine what his opinion about it is. I'm going to type in real quick, and I'm going to let him respond in real time. But next week, we'll have actual Shine on video. This week, you just got me. And if you like movies, explosions, blockbusters, TV, lens flares, good story, and even better entertainment or excitement, then you came to the right place. This is the Popcorn Power Hour, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. We do have Archmage Frey, Anthony Mark, Penny Boulevard Jones, Old Shire Geek, what's up my friend, Jeremy Snyder, Kenneth LaRoque, Lord Toth, Sean M, and I'm sure more on the way. Okay, what are we talking about today? I did put some stuff in Discord and on Twitter, trying to get everyone's take on what they want to do, what they want to talk about today. And I put a poll out, and I thought the poll was going to go differently. Let me show you what it looks like. I put a few topics that I was considering for the show. First, I wanted to talk about the Barbie movie and what that's all about. Keeping Ezra Miller as the Flash, and Deadpool 3 featuring the new X-Men, and then TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was completely downvoted to hell, I replaced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the list. We are not going to be talking about that today. If it gets more love on next week's poll, then I'll do it then. But today we will be talking about Deadpool 3. I got the poster. I actually blew it up, and I discovered some very interesting things. I also have a theory on how Deadpool can bring the X-Men into the current universe. Also, Ezra Miller as the Flash. I gotta talk again about the marketing of this movie because I actually did a lot of research. I compared the Flash marketing with Batman, the Batman movies with Christian Bale, and last year's Flash marketing. I also discovered some interesting things about numbers when it came to Zack Snyder's version of DC, Walter Hamada's version of DC, and now the James Gunn version of DC, and the numbers don't look great. And we're going to just briefly touch, because the poll was very specific. We don't want to talk about this. We're going to touch on the Barbie movie and who it's made for, because I don't think it's made for kids. I think it's made for middle-aged men like me, but we will briefly talk about it. Yeah, listen, it's going to be a good show. I'm really stoked that I'm doing this every Sunday. It's a little difficult because I got to get into the groove of it, but I think it'll start playing out nice. I plan to have some guests on, and I'm going to do some really fun stuff with the Popcorn Power Hour. I just think that as I go, it's going to become easier for me to do. First off, doing a show by myself, as many live streams as I've been on, doing a show by myself has been difficult. I'm not someone who normally talks for an hour and a half. I usually respond to other people talking, right? I'm the spice. I'm the flavor in the conversation. So I got to carry it on Sundays, and that's okay. We're going to get better at doing it. So let's jump right into it, my friends. I want to talk about this Deadpool thing first because I found some really cool stuff with Deadpool. So I want to talk about the new Deadpool poster, and then I want to talk about my theory on how they're going to bring Deadpool into the universe. It's actually a pretty good theory. But first, let's talk about Deadpool. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay. All right. This is the Deadpool poster. First off, It's brilliant because this is that poster. They took the Free Guy poster and they just sort of recreated it with Deadpool. That on its own is pretty damn cool, right? Except for there's something deeper into this poster. And I'm not one of those guys that reads too much into marketing material. But they added a lot to this poster, man. Like, a lot. First off, we got Deadpool. Instead of carrying a cup of coffee like the Free Guy was, he's carrying Aviation Gin. That is Ryan Reynolds' gin company. Instead of Free Guy, he has Deadpool. He is carrying the same fishbowl, except for the fish has been murdered. It's just a blood stain. Well, what do we got here? All the way to the right, Wolverine. We do know that Wolverine's going to be in Deadpool 3, so that's fine. Not a huge reveal, right? But let's go up a little bit here. Right? I don't know who that guy is. I'm not going to comment. But what is that? Oh, Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon is in a balloon, shooting a machine gun at a helicopter, I guess. Let's go further. Oh, the Baxter Building. So this is originally the Avengers Tower. And now, if you notice, it's the Fantastic Four Tower. Okay. Great. I'm pretty sure that's Pete from the second movie. I'm glad he's in it. Cool. We got X-Force here. Cool. Oh, we're about to get more crazy. Oh, what do we got here? Right in the corner. And I blew this up. It was real tiny. Is Iron Man. So we have Iron Man. I think that's the kid from the second movie. It looks like him. Iron Man, Wolverine down here, Rocket Raccoon, and the Fantastic Four, new Fantastic Four building. We knew they were selling the Avengers Tower. We didn't know to who. And now we know to who. The Fantastic Four. So, Deadpool 3 might be the movie that gets people back on board with Marvel's horribly disruptive, lackluster version at this new phase. And I haven't been excited about a Marvel movie in a very long time. Like a silly amount of time. I haven't cared since Endgame. I've had no interest in Marvel movies. And now with Deadpool 3 announced, oh, they might bring back, like they're going to bring back for sure Wolverine. There's talks about him introducing, so he's in the X-Men universe, right? I did literally right before the show. The reason I was like a couple minutes late, I was finishing Deadpool 2. I watched Deadpool 1 and 2 today. And in Deadpool 2, there's a moment where he actually opens the door in the mansion, the X-Men mansion, and you see the X-Men Apocalypse X-Men there. I know that's just supposed to be like a fun little quip, but it's obvious that Deadpool is in the universe with X-Men. Mega Sonic Teenage War, whatever, that character, and Big Giant Metal Nuts constantly trying to get him to join the X-Men in the first movie. More X-Men like Juggernaut introduced, Cable. He's in the universe that has X-Men, so he is in the X-Men universe, and not just an X-Men universe, but the X-Men universe from the Fox's version of X-Men. Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Magneto, etc., etc. So, having just watched all those movies again, I watched it in chronological order. I watched it from First Class all the way to the final, all the way to Logan. And I gotta say, it's really smart them bringing back these characters. Before the MCU hype was ever a thing, before Iron Man blessed our screens and created this beautiful world that for me accumulated in Avengers Endgame, and I haven't seen a Marvel movie since. Not a Marvel movie that I would consider as valuable. since that, before that happened, though, there was the X-Men. And the X-Men were extremely popular. I would even argue that the first real, like, big franchise after, like, maybe Batman was X-Men. I know we had Spider-Man, but the X-Men continued for a lot more movies. The X-Men started with Hugh Jackman and the older versions of the X-Men crew, and then they sort of like rebooted or showed a bunch of prequels with First Class and Armageddon and Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. And then they went, but it was nice because they didn't reboot it. They didn't rewrite the canon. They just added to what you already knew. So watching it in chronological order is really satisfying because, and if you haven't done this, I urge you to try. If you like the X-Men characters, watch chronologically, starting at First Class all the way to Logan. And it plays like a massive franchise. And I would argue that probably the reason they weren't as successful as maybe the MCU phase 1 and 2 was because they just didn't know how to do franchises yet, and it was sort of told out of order. But when you watch it that way, it's really cool. So what Deadpool's going to do, Deadpool 3 already announced Wolverine's coming back. Remember, it takes place before Logan. Chronologically, Logan's the last movie we've seen in this universe, which is cool. But in this movie, he's going to be taking place before Logan. So Wolverine's going to be part of Deadpool 3. If this poster is not just a giant troll and it's actually reflective of the movie, then we're going to have characters from the Avengers. We're going to have Fantastic Four. And there's no reason why we don't actually have other characters in the movie, other X-Men. So, as a nice little transition, yeah, Colossus, that was his name, Adam, thank you. Colossus was Metal Nuts. That moment when, in the first movie, when Deadpool tries to, when he's trying to find out who's behind him, and he reaches up and he grabs Colossus's junk, and he goes, "Dad?" It had me going, man. Ryan Reynolds is like the perfect Deadpool. Is my mic too loud? Let me know, guys, if my mic is too loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, Days of Future Past was awesome. It was a really good movie. It showed all the X-Men. Really fantastic film. I don't like time travel movies, and this was like, I guess, a soft time travel movie in the way that they sort of sent Wolverine's consciousness back to himself. Really good movie. Like I said, if you haven't watched it chronologically, go back. I think it's on Disney Plus and a couple other places, but go back and like watch the movies chronologically, starting at the very first, at First Class, all the way to Logan, and watch every X-Men movie. It's pretty damn good. And I gotta say, Apocalypse was probably my least, was not as good as I wanted it to be, but Olivia Munn, she looks fantastic in that movie. And Quicksilver absolutely steals the show. One thing that the original X-Men didn't have is they didn't have Quicksilver, and that was a massive mistake. Because, my God, that character is awesome. Every time he shows up, I'm blown away at that character. That is how you do a speedster, man. Okay, so, as a transition here, let's talk about how Deadpool is going to bring the X-Men into the MCU proper. And I have some ideas. I'm going to start with an idea that I'm sure many people have had, because when I looked up Onslaught, I found a bunch of people talking about it. But there's a character in Marvel called Onslaught. This character is really interesting. I wrote this down, 1996, there was a comic that came out where Professor X and Magneto were basically fighting with each other in this like heated battle. And at some point, Professor X enters Magneto's mind, and Magneto corrupts Professor X's consciousness. And what happens is another character is formed. Like, I guess it's their hate child. And the character that comes out of that corrupted consciousness is a character called Onslaught. Really cool character. He has the hate for mankind from Magneto, and like that repressed anger of Charles Xavier. And his entire goal is to sort of unify humans and mutants, but not in a good way, in a bad way. So this character is so powerful that at some point the combined efforts of all of these characters have to like fight him. It's very hard to explain. It's been a while since I've read it, but basically he's so strong that the conclusion of this is almost like a Thanos level conclusion, where the X-Men have to literally join up with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and all these other characters, and they have to fight this character, and they barely make it. Anyways, Deadpool is a part of that book to a degree, anyways, and I think that the way they're gonna introduce the X-Men is they're gonna introduce a character like Onslaught. Let me show you what Onslaught looks like. So this is Onslaught. Yeah. He looks like it's a really cool version of Magneto, to be honest, but yeah, I like this. There's an article here that says Marvel's evil mutant villain Onslaught is too powerful for the MCU. Maybe at one point he was too powerful for the MCU. However, the MCU needs the help. And if Deadpool's going to introduce the X-Men into the MCU proper, along with the Fantastic Four, if you look at that poster, then I would assume that those introductions would only be made in the face of such a villain that is so powerful and so perfect that it requires the combined efforts of all of the heroes. And it would be a really cool sort of setup. Now, I'm not saying that Deadpool 3 actually finalizes that story, but it would be a really cool thing to introduce a new storyline. And I know that we were going to be doing the King thing, right? We were supposed to be doing King the Conqueror and the King Legacy, or whatever that storyline was. Except for, if you recall, the guy playing King is in a ton of trouble right now. The King the Conqueror actor, Jonathan Majors, is there's some heat on him. And I don't know exactly what's going on, but basically this is what came out on Variety. Jonathan Majors' issues worsen as more alleged abuse victims cooperate with the DA. That's never good when you have multiple victims. This is what it says. Sources familiar with the material tell Variety that multiple alleged abuse victims of Majors have come forward following his March arrest. He's been arrested and are cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The prospect of more women waiting in the wings would mark a dramatic turn in the case and comes on the heels of Major's publicist and management firm cutting ties with the actor. Okay. So, let's back this up. We have a phase where they were introducing this new character, Kang, played by Jonathan Majors. He was actually first introduced as the Endless One, or whatever it's called, at the end of the Loki series. He was the head of the TSA or TVA or whatever. Now, what happened was, that was an introduction to like the kindest version of that character. Later on, we saw him in Ant-Man. He's a bad guy. At the very end of Ant-Man, in the end credit scene, we see a ton of Kangs. And they literally, like typical villains, they spell out their intentions. They're gonna come after MCU proper. Now here's the problem. You set this whole thing up. Not only was it failing, but like people weren't watching it. Like Ant-Man didn't make any money. People didn't care about this character. They weren't doing him right. I mean, they introduced this character and they immediately kill him twice. So no matter how you feel about it, the villain is already subpar in comparison to Thanos. And if you want your next big giant phase to have this huge villain that everyone needs to fight against, it can't be someone who is clearly inferior to Thanos. At least from our perspective as the audience, right? It's called the Kang Dynasty. Okay. So the Kang Dynasty that's their plan. What was the release for that? I'll tell you. Avengers, Kang. So here's the plan. The Avengers, the Kang Dynasty was supposed to come out in 2025. That's, a couple years from now. They can't make the Kang Dynasty if Kang is in jail with multiple sexual abuse allegations. Right? They didn't already shoot all these movies. They're in the process of, right? And now you have the WGA and all that going on. If I was in Kevin Feige's position, I would be considering changing gears. Your current phase is not going great, right? What is it? Phase 5? The current Marvel phase is not going great. People aren't watching. No one really cares. The movies aren't making very much money. It just hasn't been as successful as you want it to be. So that's phase 5. So if that's the case, if phase 5 is not going well, and it's supposed to accumulate or conclude with this big giant Kang Dynasty movie, then I'm looking at it right now. Okay. Here's the phase right here. We're supposed to introduce at some point we're gonna introduce Fantastic Four, the next Spider-Man film, Deadpool 3, Avengers Kang Dynasty, Doctor Strange 3, Nova, whatever that is, Wonder Woman, whatever that is, and Secret Wars. Okay, so this is supposed to be a Kang thing. It's supposed to conclude with Kang. But Kang's out of the picture. The actual actor that plays Kang cannot be involved, at least currently. Who knows? Maybe he's completely exonerated by all these charges and, it was all made up. Maybe the guy's a really good guy and he's being railroaded. I don't know. I don't know the details. All I know is when it comes to Marvel, they have a massive problem right now. Their Thanos, their big ending character, the villain that everyone needs to work up to, cannot, at least right now, cannot participate in these films. A. B. Even if he's completely exonerated, he has the stink of those hopefully false allegations against him. That's not gonna look good for Marvel. So Marvel's got to cut bait, dude. They got to cut bait and they got to change some ideas. If I were in their shoes, I would be considering a different villain. What villain do they have that have fought against the Fantastic Four, Deadpool, the X-Men, and the Avengers? Well, they got Onslaught, for sure. Onslaught would be that giant, powerful character that maybe you would have never even considered before. But man, Deadpool 3 can set that up. Deadpool 3 can be the movie that starts the real next phase of Marvel. It can introduce, Deadpool can lose in this movie. It can introduce us to Onslaught. And maybe he has to connect with Wolverine because Professor X and Magneto are out of commission because this character they created or whatever. And maybe this is the setup to the next actual phase because they cannot continue with this current phase. Now, whatever they've already shot, or whatever they've already created, they can always modify those things to fit into a new phase. But they can't continue with Kang. They can't. And when Kang's a massive part of every one of these movies going forward, and the guy who is supposed to be playing him is in jail right now because there are a multitude of sexual abuse allegations. I mean, you clearly cannot continue this. Marvel can't continue down this path. They got to change up their phase. They got to completely change it up. How can you change that up? Well, you got to pull Spider-Man. You got to pull what the Flash is pulling. You got to do that sort of soft reboot of your idea, and maybe even do it tongue-in-cheek. Maybe the idea of the Kang Dynasty in this whole phase is part of the Deadpool storyline, where Deadpool goes into the multiverse and just disrupts everything, right? Or disrupts. I don't know. It can be a litany of things, but I gotta tell you, if you're gonna completely change your plans, and you're gonna completely modify your phase because of real world issues, I gotta tell you, Deadpool's the guy to do it, man. Deadpool's
world of superhero crossovers.
Shine's
now
talking.
We've got Deadpool and Wolverine breaking jail, breaking the X-Men franchise to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know what that means? Dick jokes. A lot of dick jokes.
Shane's got a point. Yeah. So that also means that the MCU is going to be, I don't know, more adult going forward, right? I don't know. It might be a long shot. I'm a big fan of Deadpool. I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds. There's some actors I would watch in anything they've ever done. And I gotta tell you, right, like for sure, Ryan Reynolds is on that list. I would watch any Ryan Reynolds movie that came out. So I'm looking forward to Deadpool 3. I'm also looking forward to X-Men and Fantastic Four. And I'm not completely hopeless when it comes to the MCU. I know that they can right the ship. And maybe this real world issue with Jonathan Majors being arrested and all these accusations, maybe this is what's required to sort of right the ship. And maybe they can use Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and his quippy, sarcastic nonsense to sort of wreck the MCU, the multiverse, and bring about a new phase that we haven't even spoken about yet. And imagine this. Wouldn't it be so much like the fourth wall breaking Deadpool for them to announce all these amazing films and to them is amazing, and this new phase with the Kang Dynasty and Ant-Man and the Wasp and all this crap, only for it to be completely derailed by Deadpool? I mean, that would be pretty rad. I think it would be rad. What else you guys got? You said Warlock. Yeah, I don't know about Warlock. Didn't we have Adam Warlock already? And he sort of sucked. I think Adam Warlock was in Guardians, right? Yeah, he was. So Adam Warlock was in Guardians, and he sort of sucked. Or wasn't he? I mean, he wasn't bad, I guess, but he wasn't good either. He just sort of was. Nothing special. Certainly not powerful enough to warrant, a response from the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four. I don't know. What else, you guys? Doctor Doom. That's a good option. Doctor Doom's pretty rad. Doctor Doom has not been done correctly. We got a version of him. The first version that we had was when Chris Evans was playing Flame Boy, whatever his name is, the Human Torch, and that was pretty good. It was okay. It could have been better. The second version was when Michael B. Jordan was playing the Human Torch, and that incarnation of Fantastic Four. And it was just sort of not memorable. It was not interesting. That was a flop to me. So if they do Doctor Doom, yeah, they should do it. But I would love to see Doctor Doom done correctly. But then you have to tell his origins correctly. You can't just have him come out of nowhere and be this giant, powerful being. You got to start him like you started Iron Man. And you got to slowly, we have to see his transition over time and how he amasses all this power in order to take on the MCU. Onslaught would be easier because you can introduce Onslaught. You can introduce Onslaught within a few movies and have enough for the audience to buy off that he is so powerful. But I think Doctor Doom would require a longer setup, which, you know what, I'd be okay with if they did Doctor Doom and they, did it over a period of like eight movies. I'm cool with that. But you can't just throw him in there and expect us to buy off that he's that powerful as regular audience members without a proper setup. That's why I think that Onslaught will be easier. Analysis. Okay. I can't say that word, but let me look it up. This is the character that's like the ruler of the negative zone. Man, how do I not know this character? He looks a lot like he's millions of years old. Jesus. So he's the ruler of the negative zone. Didn't we have like a negative zone reference, right? Interesting. He communicates with Doctor Doom. Oh, that would be really cool, actually. He looks a lot like Ultron for some reason. Maybe he is. Maybe I don't know enough about this character. I'll look into that. I don't remember that character for some reason. They're not making. That's right. Blade was part of their release, and Blade is definitely not happening now, right? We're definitely the actor even came out with the hat. He's wearing the Blade thing. They announced it at Comic-Con. They put it on the slate, and now no Blade. I don't know. So if you think about this, their announced phase is already in shambles with Blade not happening. Their main villain, King the Conqueror, completely out of the picture. So you gotta switch it up. So Avengers King Dynasty ain't happening. From what I can tell, it's not happening. Blade's definitely not happening. We know for a fact we got Deadpool 3. Like, that's 100% happening. Okay. So what do? I mean, use Deadpool, who operates in the X-Men universe, to introduce an X-Men character that wrecks the multiverse and requires the combined efforts of all these heroes to deal with. And in the process, you can just you completely remove the characters that didn't work out. Like, all of the Marvels. I know that movie's happening, but it can still happen and they can still be wiped out by Deadpool 3. So just get rid of the movies of the characters that didn't work out. And if they didn't work, just get rid of them. Use Deadpool 3 and his multiverse hopping to just sort of soft reboot your phase, introduce another character. Sure, let's say they introduce Supreme Commander Annihilus, whatever his name is, or he connects with the Fantastic Four and they introduce Doctor Doom or Onslaught, whatever. But introduce this character slowly, build it up over a period of 5 or 6 movies, and then have that big team up. I gotta say, I don't know, even the most jaded Marvel fans would show up to watch Wolverine and the X-Men fighting alongside the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. All right, who would not want to see that movie? Even if all the movies leading up to it were garbage, like, we're all gonna still show up to watch that movie. Like, we're gonna. That would be the way to do it. Don't give us another Avengers movie. We don't want to see Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, especially not with. Let's be real, okay? Instead of Hawkeye, you got like his daughter. You got like Miss Marvel. You have all these characters that are just like no one cares about. They didn't earn their position. They didn't earn their powers or their place in the MCU. They were just sort of given. They were given the canonically, anyways. They were just given that superhero status. Like, we don't want to watch an Avengers movie with Thor and a bunch of high school students in their parents' superhero clothes. No one wants to see that. So if you're going that route, stop, reevaluate. Let's introduce the X-Men. Let's bring back Hugh Jackman. Let's finish the Deadpool series, and let's start off the next phase with in a literal blast. That would, and just act like the entire phase you were working on was destroyed by Deadpool. Make it a meta sort of fourth wall breaking joke and start your new phase. Act like the last few movies just didn't matter. And I think a lot of fans wouldn't care. I mean, I wouldn't anyways. We'll see. We'll see what they do, but that would be pretty awesome. What do you got? Unpopular opinion, but I didn't really think the Avengers films were all that. I just like Guardians and Deadpool. Yeah, the Avengers Endgame was great. Age of Ultron was okay. I mean, I like what's his name? James Spader. I know he wasn't in the movie, but his voice was. His voice is very, very, for me, very descriptive. Very, it's hard for me not to notice when he's talking. So that might have done something for me. I also like how the Avengers were like moving together as a team during that movie and the stuff that was happening in the real world. I think that it could have been done better for sure. I still don't understand why did Scarlet Witch have like this weird like Romania sort of accent in one movie, and then the following movie completely lost her accent. I don't know what the plan was there. A lot of people just didn't notice. I think Quicksilver was not used correctly. We barely got to see him work. The Quicksilver in the X-Men was leaps and bounds better than the Avengers version. And so that was a disappointment. Also, their accents sounded bad. They had bad accents. But I like Avengers Endgame a lot. I think Avengers Endgame was really good. And the build up to that was really fantastic. But I don't know. Rec Thoughts says, is there a thought that this should happen? Is there a thought that what should happen is let the MCU sit for 10 years, give it time to reset? Why are we forcing this petering franchise fake life? I know they won't do that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that would be the right way to do it. Sure, you're right. Yeah, let's just take it down a notch. Let's sit on it. Let's start working on better scripts, better ideas, and just not do anything for a while. Slow down. But they're not going to do that. Disney likes to make buku bucks, and they want to recapture. They want to recapture the financial windfall they had with their first and second phase, which is why they continually are pushing this. The problem is it's petering and not working because they are introducing characters that no one cares about. And it's all based on this sort of progressive agenda or whatever. And it's not earned, and it feels forced, and it feels cringy. And I know Miss Marvel is not a bad show, but like no one needed it. No one cared about that movie. The character was introduced like a couple years ago. She was introduced to the comics like in 2014 or 16, like very soon. And they want to like pin the entire franchise on this character. The Avengers video game literally had you playing as that character. And I remember playing the game and wondering, why am I playing as this character I've never seen before or care about? But that's what they're doing. They're trying to pivot into what their version of progressive is, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work for the story. It's way too fast. If they want to do that, you got to build up slow. You got to build characters up slowly. Introduce us to those characters slowly. Give us time to acclimate. But instead, they just sort of try to force this like agenda down people's throat at the sake of the story, at the sake of the quality, at the sake of logic a lot of the times. And they wonder why no one's watching the movies. Well, the worst part is they go, "Oh, you're not watching it because it's a woman, or because it's another race or whatever." No, it's because the story sucks. And it's because you swapped out characters that we already loved, and you're trying to tell us that we're supposed to love this new character just as much as the old character. Well, no, screw you. I like the old character. You can't just completely bait and switch me and expect me to like this brand new character. Ant-Man was not a good movie. Quantumania, in hindsight, was not great. Out of the theater, I was entertained, but then watching it again, I'm like, this movie sucks. They ruined that character, one with the giant face. I'm forgetting his name. They ruined. I'm forgetting the guy's character's name all of a sudden. He was played by Corey Stoll. Whatever. Someone remind me what his name was. But they ruined Corey Stoll's character. Ant-Man's daughter, I'm sorry, but she sort of sucked. Why was she just given a suit automatically? She's like all of a sudden awesome and she's out there being a superhero, and I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it for a second. And her whole diatribe about socialism and all that was weird. Like, why are you doing this to people? Do you think that all young people are looking at this? Like, it was Yellow Jacket in the first movie, but then I'm sorry. Actually, Eric says Yellow Jacket. In the first movie, he was Yellow Jacket, but then he was like, his body was twisted when he entered the quantum realm and he became the other character. And I'm forgetting what the character's name is right now. But I wonder, are they introducing Darren Cross was his human name, yeah. If they're introducing the younger generation because they think they need to do that in order to get younger people in the theaters, like, it's been a couple years. I don't know what younger people came to the theaters when they watched Iron Man all the way to Endgame. Why do you think you have to go this extreme progressive route in order to attract young people when you already had the young people? Like, what is the plan? Why do you think that we care about the Cassandra character? We do not care about this character. She was introduced as a child. She was fine. And now we get her as more grown. And she's instantly wearing the suit. Instantly emasculating her father. And she's just the guy. She's just in charge now. And you want us to believe that for a minute, that the Kathy Lane character is supposed to be on the same realm of skill level, whatever, as Scott and the Wasp. I don't buy it. And the audience didn't buy it. The movie didn't make any money. If that's the case, MODOK, thank you. My God, I was dying. MODOK. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, MODOK, bro. They ruined that character. The graphics were weird. Nothing about it was good. It was just, I don't know, it just didn't make no sense. You could have had this awesome character, but instead you went this route. You went this route right here. This is the route you went. I don't understand it. Are they trying to attract children? Maybe they want like kids to see this and be like, oh, the MODOK character was so... It looks stupid as F. That looks horrible. In every conceivable way, that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. It looks like a joke. It's so dumb. So I don't understand the point of that. I also don't understand if you're trying to attract kids to watch these movies, like real young people, because clearly this movie was made for young people. But then additionally, you add cursing and references to blowjobs and dicks, and it's weird. What? if you're trying to attract younger kids to watch these movies with this kind of nonsense, and with all the teenagers playing the superheroes, why is there so much profanity in the movie then? I'm sitting there with my 11-year-olds and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting uncomfortable every time they mention the word, every time they say the word dick. Like, I'm not a prude, bro, but my kids are young. They don't need to hear those words. It's so weird that you want to attract kids to watch your movies, then you want to introduce them to adult concepts. It's not normal. It's sort of sus, to be honest. I'm not saying anything, but it's sort of sus. At the very least, it's really short-sighted. You think that maybe you're going to get more of these young people in that's going to replace the adults that are already going. But in reality, what happens is the adults that first set of adults go watch it, and they tell all their friends the movie sucked, and it's going to come out on streaming in 30 days anyway, so don't bother, and the movie flops. Right? Like, it just does poorly. Let's see what it did. Box office. All right. Ultimately, worldwide, the worldwide box office for Ant-Man and Ant-Man Quantumania was $476 million. $214 million in the United States. All right. So now let's look at this budget. All right. The budget was $200 million. So what do they say every time? If you got a budget for a movie, you can double that budget when it comes to marketing and merchandise and all of the stuff they got to do in connection to the movie. So in reality, here's the movie math for this movie. The movie probably cost the studio $400 million, and it made $476 million. I mean, it's not a flop. It's not a bomb, but that is not profitable. It's just not. So let's look at, that was the only real movie. No, that's not true. Wakanda Forever came out. So Wakanda Forever and Thor are good examples of this next phase outside of COVID. So let's look at the budget for this. Right, $250 million. It made $859 million worldwide. That's much better. So that movie probably cost them about the same, probably about $400 million total, and it made $800 million. So that movie was definitely profitable. All right, Thor. All right, so Thor looks like Thor. Oh my God. I like how the first thing that comes up is like a Disney page. $250 million. The movie cost $500 million to make. And the box office was $760 million. Okay. So not a wash. It made, it still didn't make probably as much as they wanted to make. $500 million. They didn't make double their money. They made, time and a half. All right. I guess that's better than nothing. The only winner here, like real winner, I would say, is probably Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That movie made almost $1 billion, and the profit and the budget was $200 million. Well, a little less than $200 million. So it probably cost them $400 million, and they made $1 billion. Okay, so the only real guaranteed success so far was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, it was a success box office wise, but it certainly wasn't a success when it comes to fans. It was not well received. None of these movies have been super well received. And it looks like while Thor and Black Panther did make their budget, but their time and a half budget, they didn't make what the studio wanted to make. That's for sure. The only movie that made what the studio probably wanted to make was Doctor Strange. So if that's the case, if you have a grouping of movies that are not doing well, they're not being well received, they're not doing well financially, and you introduce this new character in this big movie that's supposed to set up your like Ant-Man and Quantumania was supposed to set up the whole next phase, and then immediately the character in which you introduce as the new big bad is the actor that plays that character is arrested, and there's a ton of allegations against him. I mean, it's possible they're not true. I'm not saying they are. I don't know. But regardless, that puts Disney in a place where they can't use that character anymore. Or at the least, they got to recast him, right? It'd be smarter for them just not to use him. The character was already on the way to being bad. They had already killed the character twice. No one was afraid of this character whatsoever. So they could have continued on that path, but it was clearly becoming a loss. So let's just stop. Let's reset. Let's go with, I don't know, Deadpool's option. The one character that has always worked out for you. Deadpool. Right? Why not? Kenneth the Rogue says, with a $200 million budget, it would need to make 600 to 650 million. Yes, to break it. Okay. So, yeah, that's probably more accurate. What they say is you double the budget for like marketing and additional costs, right? Which would be $400 million. I guess you could be generous and say it would be $600 million. That means that Ant-Man lost money. That means that Wakanda Forever broke even. Thor broke even. And the only movie that actually was a financial success was Doctor Strange. And if your last 5 movies, if out of your last 5 movies or 4 movies, only one of them were financially viable, then that means that you were on a losing track. And if you know anything about business, you should probably stop, reset, pivot, and go another direction. Now, I think the COVID thing, the pandemic and the weird releases they had for that, probably is probably throwing a wrench in a lot of their plans, because like they're looking at like the Eternals and these other movies that came out during that time. I forgot what they were. And maybe they maybe they were expected to do much better and they didn't because of COVID. And I don't know. They could be sort of sucking on their own hopium here and hoping that the COVID thing is a big factor, but it's not. In reality is you have a direction that you're going that is losing you money. It's not working out. Let's pull up and pivot. And I would like to see them use Deadpool 3 as a way to do that. Introduce a new character. Introduce Fantastic Four. Use the connection to X-Men that's already there. Bring the X-Men in. Kick off your entire phase. And while you're at it, use the one character created from the minds of the 2 most powerful X-Men that's ever existed. Have him come out and start your new phase off. And I'll be happy if that's the case. Rec Thoughts asks a question. So question, what would happen if you forgot the interlinked franchises and do standalones? Would fans even accept that? That's a great question, man, because I think you need standalones. Like I've said this for a long time. I love the DC universe even more than Marvel. And the mistake that they made in DC was they started off with Man of Steel, this most recent version of DC, and they made a good Superman movie. And the second they realized the fans accepted that, they moved right into team-ups. Boom. Batman vs. Superman. Then they gave you Wonder Woman, but it was like, a big prequel. Then Wonder Woman all of a sudden joined Batman vs. Superman. They had Aquaman. They had a couple standalones, but they were rushing toward Justice League. They were trying to beat Marvel at their own game. But then you have the phase 1 and you have Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, Doctor Strange. You had a lot of standalones where maybe they referenced each other, but they didn't start to team up until the big Avengers movie. And that's the way to go. You create these movies with these characters. You get people to fall in love with the characters first before you team up. I did not like the Thor movie. Thor 1 and 2 were bad movies to me. I didn't like the way the character was going. I liked the character in the comics. I didn't like him in the movies. But the second Thor joins the Avengers and you get that supporting cast of characters like Iron Man, which I already adored, Captain America, which I absolutely love, and Doctor Strange and all that. When you start connecting the characters that I didn't like to the characters I did, then it makes me like Thor more. And that's why the team ups are great, but you got to give us the standalone character driven stories first before you introduce the galactic ending event for all these big characters to deal with as a group. You got it. And DC failed at that. They started a great Man of Steel. I will die on this hill. Man of Steel is to me the best Superman movie made since I would suppose the original the very first Christopher Reeves movie. After that movie was just amazing. I loved it in every way. It's one of my favorite Superman movies of all time. I loved the Wonder Woman movie. The first Wonder Woman movie when they were back in time with Chris Pine. Loved it. The second one was weird. It made no sense. I still enjoyed it entertainment-wise, but I didn't like the story. And even if Aquaman wasn't the strongest film, like knowing that he was in the Justice League was going to be working. I figured it was going to be like their Thor, right? But what happened was, you're right, man. They tripped over themselves. They really wanted to get to Avengers because they wanted to get to that Avengers level movie, and so they just moved too fast. You know, a friend of mine, Matt Kadish, he said that Snyder wanted to make a Batman movie, and the studio wanted him to do Man of Steel 2 or something like that, if I remember correctly. And the reason why he introduced Batman in that movie was he was just trying to sort of pigeonhole the studio into making a Batman movie. But that's probably because that's what he needed to do. It should have been Man of Steel, The Dark Knight, or Batman, whatever you want to call it, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman. You should introduce all these movies individually. Maybe even pop another, a Man of Steel 2 in there, or Batman 2 if you want, whatever. And then at the end of all that, after you introduce the characters, you introduce they live in the same universe and that they know about each other. Maybe even they work together a couple times. Maybe even for Aquaman, throw a meeting in there with the Flash or something. I don't know. But then you have that big moment, that big Justice League moment where they have to team up together. That's what you should have done. But no, instead they just sort of tried to rush to the ending and they failed. On that note, they didn't fail that much though, because let me show you guys this graphic. It's interesting because even though they tripped over themselves getting where they needed to be, I find it fascinating that the Snyder stuff, Zack Snyder, love him or hate him, he was cultivating a massive fan base. And when he left and Walter Hamada took over, the quality went downhill really quickly. Even if you don't like Zack Snyder or Zack Snyder's style, whatever, that's fine. You don't have to. The numbers don't lie here. And look at this. Someone on Reddit created this, and this is actually really telling. You can't see it, but my head's in the way. But frankly speaking, in the era of Zack Snyder, here, let me get my face out of the way here. Man of Steel made $668 million. Batman versus Superman made $74 million. The Suicide Squad, like the first one, the one that we didn't like, the first Suicide Squad, made $747 million. Wonder Woman, $822 million. Aquaman, $1 billion plus. Up, here comes Walter Hamada. Comes big swinging dick comes in. What do we get? Shazam. I like the movie, but 366. Whatever that movie was about Harley Quinn and all of her friends. I forgot what it was called. It was stupid. I didn't watch it. $244 million. Wonder Woman 2, 169 million. Now, that could have been because of COVID. It's fine. The Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version, which I actually liked a lot, 168 million. Black Adam, which you guys all know, I loved that movie, 392. And now Shazam 2 at $140 million. So there is clearly there was clearly a lot of money coming out of Zack Snyder's version. Birds of Prey. Thank you, Yorkshire. That movie was so bad. Whether you liked it or not, he was making a lot of money for the studio. Whether you like the style, I personally did. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is, it's on my top 5 all-time movies. His version, not the one that we got, not the Walter Hamada, Joss Whedon version. The thing is, though, he's making tons of money. When he leaves because his daughter and all that stuff that happened, and Walter takes over, the profit is now a third of what it used to be, or the box office is almost a third of what it used to be, if not an eighth. And then you got James Gunn. Now, I'm not going to attribute Shazam 2 to James Gunn. I don't think James Gunn had much to do with that. But I do think that James Gunn has had plenty to do with The Flash. And the next movie up is The Flash. And with that amazing transition, we're going to be talking about The Flash next. Okay, so let's chat about The Flash. Interesting stuff going on. I made a video last week talking about The Flash, the marketing for The Flash. Yesterday. I'm concerned. I'm confused. I don't get it. There's real weird stuff going on with The Flash. But, and let me just explain what I'm talking about. We're going to be talking about the marketing for The Flash versus every other DC film. I've done probably a stupid amount of research on this. And in my research, I'm finding some weird inconsistencies in how The Flash is being treated like almost a ride or die kind of thing. Like it's required that this movie does well. And they are pulling out all the stops to the point of almost cringe level stops. They are pouring out stops for this Flash movie. So, celebrities are coming out that have no connection to the movie, like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise says he loves the Flash movie. He says, and I quote, "The Flash is the kind of movie we need right now. And everything you want in a movie." He was given a copy of the movie. David Zaslav came to his house and privately screened the movie for him. And then they went out of their way to report his findings, which is very weird. Let's get even weirder. Stephen King. Yes, the writer Stephen King, who I personally detest. Shane loves his writing. I think Stephen King is just a massive a-hole. But he got an advanced screening of The Flash to his private villa. And he tweeted out, "I got an advanced screening of The Flash today. As a rule, I don't care a lot about superhero movies, but this one is special. It's heartfelt, funny, eye-popping. I love it." Why? Why is Stephen King talking about The Flash? I don't know. Oh, but it gets better. It gets better. It's so weird. This whole thing is weird. Jaden Smith. Yes, my friends. When I say Jaden Smith, who do you, in your mind, who do you think of? You think of Will Smith's son, the Jaden Smith? Are you saying After Earth Jaden Smith, perhaps? I don't know. This version of Jaden Smith? Right? This crazy lunatic? Okay. He got an advanced copy of the movie. Why? Why is Jaden Smith getting a copy of the movie? I don't know. It's weird. I don't even care about what Jaden Smith's opinion on anything. I don't care what his opinions on anything are. But why would he be getting a chance to watch the movie? But, and I quote, he tweeted out this: "The Flash just changed my life. WTF." He also put out an Instagram post. "The Flash was amazing. I just don't know what to say. Wow." We don't care, Jaden. What I want to know is why you're getting the movie. And then someone who I actually like a lot, Terry Crews. Terry Crews. He got to see the movie too. And what did he say? Well, here you go. Here's his Instagram. Terry Crews says, "Caught a sneak peek of the Flash movie with the fam last weekend. And well, there's a reason we are smiling. You have to go see this movie. Check it out on theaters June 16th. Why? Why is Terry Crews and his seemingly gigantic family, my God, why are they watching this film? I like Terry Crews. I think Terry Crews is a good dude, but I don't understand the marketing. How about this? Director Edgar Wright watches the movie. I don't understand why. It's so weird, you guys. So, if you don't know who Edgar Wright is, he did like Shaun of the Dead, Last Night in Soho, Baby Driver. Good director. No qualms. He had this long, very drawn out Instagram post. "Got to see The Flash last night with a very special date. My longtime editor, since we go way back on Spaced right through Soho, and now editor on this summer epic movie, Mr. Paul whatever. When I got invited to this sneak screening, I insisted Paul come with me so I can nudge him throughout. It's been a long journey to bring this speedy adventure to the screen, and the final film is a total blast. Had such fun picking Paul's brains." I'm going to stop right there. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. This is not the only thing that is very odd. I don't know why all these celebrities and people are getting access to the movie. I'm a little confused by that. I've never seen this before. This is like the very first time. And it's weird. I didn't even mention all of them. There's a lot more. There are people that got access to the movie that never even posted online. Like, their publicists put out statements for them saying how much they like the movie. And literally every single person, not a single one of these people have said they didn't like it. Every single one is like, it's the best thing since sliced bread, right? I love these. We got memes coming on right now. So because of all these celebrities coming out, people are making memes. Here we go. Mahatma Gandhi held a private screening of The Flash, and apparently he loved it. Or how about this one? Rasputin. "Hi guys, yes, it's me, the real Rasputin. Anyways, I just came back from Beyond the Veil and got to watch an advanced screening of The Flash. I usually don't care about superhero movies, but this one was truly special." It's weird. The marketing for this is really weird. And you're right, Yorkshire. All these guys are getting advanced copies of The Flash, but they didn't get to watch Picard Season 3 the one I did. That's true. And you actually have a hidden point there. Perhaps they're connected to the studio or whatever. But whatever it is, and it's possible these celebrities always get this kind of treatment. But maybe now, like, the studio is urging them to express their thoughts about the movie online or something. I don't know. But it's weird. So I went back and looked. Let's go back to Black Adam. Black Adam. The biggest marketing Black Adam had was The Rock, continually marketing the movie. In fact, there was this hilarious meme going around where people were adding to his Twitter post, like when the Queen died, Queen of England died. He like expressed his condolences over Twitter, but then he was like, I'm reminded about times like this on what drove me to create the Black Adam opening in this on October 21st. He was promoting the movie so much, you almost forgot that the theater didn't promote it at all. There was like 4 trailers that dropped, but it wasn't nothing special. I didn't see any big giant billboards. Everything seemed to be promoted and pushed by The Rock himself. Now only a few months later, we have The Flash, where every single celebrity that anyone can possibly like is tweeting and Instagramming how much the movie is good. We have the director coming out and literally confirming cameos and spoilers in interviews with Variety. Like, the studio is spoiling their own film, talking about the various cameos and nostalgia that's in the movie. And I'm going back and I'm looking at last year's movies. They didn't get a piece of that. I go back, okay, let's go back to the phase with that we were talking about before. Let's go back and look at Zack Snyder's movies. They got their customary trade. There's no normal, billboards or whatever. But no big con release, no big giant celebrity push for everything. Nothing like that. Not a single out of the ordinary marketing campaign. I went back farther. I went back all the way to Batman, Christian Bale. Now, we did have a couple celebrities tweet out about Batman. And it was oddly when all the internet hate was coming out about Heath Ledger. People, before they had seen the movie, they thought Heath Ledger was going to be horrible, right? And I think the studio was concerned about it because around that time, we saw a couple celebrities putting out like publicist press releases and all that, talking about how they watched the movie and it was really great and highlighting Heath Ledger's performance in the movie. So I gotta think, the studio can't use Ezra Miller to promote this movie. Ezra Miller, his star power is just negated. Not only by his own problems, but he doesn't have, like, aside from his legal issues, he just doesn't have the ability to promote this movie. He doesn't have the star power. So you have Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton did come out with he was on TikTok or whatever. I actually put it on DC Unleashed, where he's telling people to come out on Father's Day and watch it. So that's something. But he's really the only star power in the movie. Ezra Miller doesn't have star power. Supergirl, whatever her name is, doesn't have star power. But additionally, you can't put Ezra on the circuit, on that interview circuit where he's like doing interviews and, Good Morning America and, the promotion circuit, because he's nuts, bro. You know what? Shane actually has his own opinion about this. Listen to Shane. Shane, what do you think about Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller. Oh, the epitome of entitlement in its grand finale. Now, let me tell you, if this movie manages to find success, it won't be thanks to Ezra's, so magical star power. No. It'll be a sheer miracle, a triumph of a killer story, the continuation of Zack Snyder's universe, and the nostalgic allure of Batman that'll lure audiences in droves.
True.
We're talking ticket sales skyrocketing past the 2 billion mark.
Sure.
Folks. So hold on tight.
That's what Shane has to say. And he's not wrong. I don't think the movie's gonna make $2 billion. That's ridiculous, Shane. Come on. But I do think that the movie can be insanely successful. And I don't think it's because of the insane marketing they're doing. This ridiculous celebrity-infused marketing, or everything they're pulling out all the stops. They're pulling out stops we've never even seen before to do this movie. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be successful because the story's good. And I know Ezra Miller is in Shane's word, the epitome of entitlement. A ridiculous, villainous criminal. The guy has major problems. He is probably, he might be a pedophile. He might be, or at the very least, brain damage. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I do think Ezra Miller should be in jail. I think that he has major issues. And I'm trying to be nice, but Ezra Miller should be in jail. I think I just mess up his pronouns too, and I don't care. I try to normally respect pronouns, but Ezra Miller doesn't even respect his own pronouns. He made up the they, them pronouns just to mess with people. His own friends reported that Ezra Miller doesn't care about the they, them pronouns, and that he only said that to mess with the media. But the media has been going ham on the they, them thing. So anyways, the guy has problems. He's a disaster. But apparently, he's very good at playing the Flash. Because when prompted, the director, when they asked him about if Ezra Miller would be staying on for more Flash movies, he said if we get the chance to make more Flash movies, 100% Ezra Miller will be joining them. He praised Ezra Miller, said he's the best version of the Flash. He's an amazing actor, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if any of that's true. And I don't like the guy. But I can see him playing the role well. I can see it working. He's sort of quirky. On top of all that, the character, not the actor. The actor is not quirky. He's insane. But the character is quirky. But on top of all that, we do have Michael Keaton. And I gotta tell you, I don't care if Michael Keaton was going to be in a Captain Marvel film. I'm going to watch it. Now you say Michael Keaton's coming back as the Batman. I don't even care if it's Birds of Prey. I will be back to see Michael Keaton as Batman in anything. So there's a lot of people like that are going to come to watch Michael Keaton as Batman in this movie regardless. I heard that Sasha whatever, I can't say her last name. Sasha Supergirl is really good. From a lot of people that I trust. And I believe that character is going to be worth watching. So in the movie, you have three characters. Michael Keaton's Batman, which we all love, is going to be a draw. Sasha's Supergirl is going to be a draw. She's going to be talked about. When she's talked about, it's going to make people that were on the fence going to want to go watch it. The Flash, even if you don't know anything about Ezra Miller, I think it'll be a draw too. I think people will talk about him. And I don't think normies even know what's going on with Ezra Miller. I don't believe that. I think Ezra Miller is nuts, but I think it's been very well hidden and it hasn't really been publicized to the outside world like it has on YouTube and with all of our, we all know what Ezra Miller has done. But you ask my wife, she's like, Ezra who? My parents. Ezra who? Oh, the guy from the Justice League movie? Yeah, he's great. They don't know anything about Ezra Miller. So it's not really affecting the public too much. But that's also why you can't have him on the circuit. Because if you have Ezra Miller come out on, that piece of human garbage Jimmy Kimmel's show. Let's say he comes out on Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, he's going to talk about the Flash. He's going to softball him and let him talk about the Flash, sure. But he's also going to talk about his allegations or his arrests. That's going to come up. And then normies that aren't following the actual news, that just watch Jimmy Kimmel and The View, are going to know about it, and they're going to go look for it. And they're going to find out what a piece of absolute human shit Ezra Miller is. And what are they going to do? They're going to form a negative opinion, which is why Ezra Miller cannot market this movie. So who do you call? Michael Keaton, right? Oh, but then, before Michael Keaton can even join the circuit, the WGA happens, the strike happens, and all these late night and early morning shows, a lot of them anyways, are gone. All right, well that's end. Yeah, Wreck Thoughts. By the way, I haven't seen you here before, but welcome. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is human trash. He is human trash incarnate. And the guy is such an unloyal piece of crap. I want to curse so bad, but I'm not going to. That he threw his best friends under the bus to get the job that he currently has. And the only thing I can say about that human being is that if you knew the real Jimmy Kimmel, you would hate him. If you knew the real Jimmy Kimmel, from the Man Show all the way to now, you would hate that piece of shit. Sorry. That human garbage. You would hate him. Because he is not the typical shill late night. He is a devious, manipulative, unloyal hack. That's what Jimmy Kimmel was. Anyway, sorry for that tangent. A lot of those shows are shut down, which means you can't go on the soft. That's what I call it the soft circuit, the circuit that all the normies watch, right? The morning shows, the late night shows. You can't send Ezra Miller on that circuit because his problems are going to come up, and then it's going to alert the regular public to the fact that he's insane. And if you could send Michael Keaton, Michael Keaton doesn't want to do it. He's too old for that nonsense. And even if you could, a lot of the big shows have been shut down because of strike. So we're in this unique situation where the only way to market the movie is through other celebrities. You can't use the ones in the movie. Sasha is not a big enough celebrity draw to matter. Ezra's insane. Michael Keaton's way too old for this crap. And all the normal soft circuit shows are shut down. But what do you got? Celebrities. Let's go to cons. Let's get screeners over to Tom Cruise and Terry Crews. I funny how both Crews got the movie. Jaden Smith for some awful reason, and plenty of others that I'm not mentioning. Let's get these people to watch the movie and let them go online and say how awesome it was. And let's make sure that we only give the movies to the people that really want to watch it, so that they are, infected by the nostalgia that is The Flash. It's fascinating. From John Burns, thank you, John Burns, Super Chat 279. Superman never made any money saving the world. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I almost said I'm getting too old for this. I changed it up. I'm trying not to curse, you guys. I went back and I was watching a few of our live streams last Thursday, the Thursday before last, and then the Saturday show. I watched through them to see if I can clip any of it for our social media. And man, I've been cursing a lot. And I know you guys probably don't care about cursing, and I don't care really either. But I'm trying not to police my speech, but I'm trying to change my speech. I want to take all my bad habits and turn them into good habits. And I want to do that by starting with the way I talk. And given that I'm naturally a trucker in my speech, I'm attempting to change that per se. I'm trying to change that speech pattern and adjust with words that aren't offensive, but we'll see how that goes. Ezra Miller, another super chat from John Burns. Thank you, John. Ezra Miller should go on Piers Morgan's Enough Said. Yeah, Piers Morgan won't even talk about the Flash. He'll immediately bring up the charges and the allegations and the fact that he kidnapped a 14-year-old girl and the gun charges and the baby stuff, all the weird stuff. They're going to bring that up. Yeah, true that, Rec Thoughts. It's really hard not to curse when talking about this stuff. I gotta agree with you on that. By the way, John, I gotta say, we were tracking our supporting numbers, and dude, you have financially supported the show. Almost 10% of the show has come almost directly from you last month, so I really appreciate it. And to be frank, we need it. We did it, so I appreciate it. Okay, so back to this. I'm going to try to conclude this thought, because I've been harping on this thing for a while. If you go back and look at the Flash marketing, I believe that it's a mixture of the WGA strike, the fact that Ezra Miller's insane and he can't push his own show, Michael Keaton's way too old for this crap, And that James Gunn really needs this movie to be seen by everyone. Like, James Gunn is utilizing the Flash to launch his new version of DCU. And if people don't watch the Flash, and there's people that are arguing with me on this point, but let me tell you something. I've been following this since for 2 years now. The Flash has gotten so many rewrites and so many reshoots and so much adjustment and so much editing that is not the same movie it was 2 years ago. It's not. And when James Gunn came on, he didn't touch Black Adam. He didn't modify Shazam. He only focused his efforts on the Flash. Because that movie was far enough away for him to actually make changes to. And remember, Henry Cavill had shot stuff for the Flash. Henry Cavill's scenes are no longer in the movie. There's an end credit scene that I'm not going to spoil here. But that end credit scene you see, it's cool. It's a cool end credit scene. But that scene was supposed to be Henry Cavill Superman. And at the last minute, it was changed and they reshot it for something else. So James Gunn has his proverbial hands all over this movie. And the reason is he is using the idea of Flashpoint and the Flashpoint paradox and all that stuff to sort of soft reboot DC in a way that allows fans of the Snyderverse to enjoy his stuff canonically. And I think that's genius. I do. But I also think that's dangerous because when a studio absolutely needs you to watch a movie in order to set off the next 10 movies, that if any one movie is that pivotal, damn it, is that important to your slate? It doesn't bode well for the rest, in my opinion, the rest of the phase. You know, when you bet everything on one film and you're putting so much effort, they gave like a fraction of the attention to Black Adam and Shazam. All of their marketing went into the Flash. And I mean, they even changed the date, the release of the date, and I didn't realize this until recently, to open up on Father's Day weekend. I'm sorry, if you don't know how genius that is, then you're stuck in the mud. Listen, there are a few kind of relationships out there. If you want to in a relationship where your wife or girlfriend will go watch superhero movies with you and enjoy them, then congratulations. That's great. If you have a wife or a girlfriend that watches Star Trek and Star Wars and enjoys the nerd culture alongside with you, then you have something special and don't let her go. For the rest of us plebs, with normal wives who struggle to agree to go to watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with you opening weekend, on Father's Day weekend, I'll tell you this. If you want to go watch The Flash, your entire damn family's coming. It's happening. It's one of those days where where most dads get to sort of call the shots. And if you're anything like me and you want to watch this movie, that's what you're doing on Father's Day. So it's really smart to launch on that weekend because you don't get the long weekends. You get the lower prediction numbers, but you're going to get bigger box office numbers because of Father's Day. So it's pretty brilliant. Adam, your other half is a nerd. You got one, man. You got one. Good for you. Hold on to him or her or whatever. Hold on to your other half. Don't let him go. Yeah, James Gunn was brought in as a fixer. Yeah, he was. Or she, thank you. Yeah, when when they brought in James Gunn, it was actually brilliant. James Gunn is very, very talented. He's one of those creatives that, in my opinion, has never produced anything that I didn't enjoy. And I didn't enjoy. I've liked everything he's ever made. He also understands the source material. When he does a movie, he gets deep in it. The second he got the job when it was publicized that he had the job as the head of DC, all he was doing was posting on Twitter and Instagram and other places the various comics that he was reading. You know, he read Kingdom Come. I remember the Kingdom Come books all sold out when he posted that he was reading Kingdom Come. He's one of those people that, you know, just soaks himself in the source material before making something out of it. And it's a lot of creatives don't do that nowadays. So it's really good. Also, he understands the sort of absurdity of some of the characters and how to create those absurd characters and actually bring them into like a realistic existence in a really fun way. He is going to really do some good work. I believe in James Gunn. I trust James Gunn. I don't like his casting right now for Superman, but whatever. I can get behind it if the story's good. So we'll see how that goes. Bottom line is, the fixer that is James Gunn is modifying the universe and to introduce a different Batman, to introduce a different Superman, to introduce Sasha's Supergirl, and to set up a universe that he has more control over. And if I had to guess, I would guess that Aquaman in this story is untouched. I believe they're keeping Jason Momoa. I hope they're keeping Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but it's possible they don't. That said, he can really do whatever he wants. Like, story-wise, Flashpoint allows him to make unlimited adjustments and still be correct within canon. It's a very unique event it's a very unique event that's very specific to comic books, but also specific to DC, where he gets to the Flash gets to sort of rewrite history, and they get to throw out the stuff that didn't work and keep the stuff that does, or whatever. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And if I was James Gunn and I'm sitting there reading Flashpoint Paradox in June when I had just gotten the job as the head of DC, I would have immediately picked up the phone and I would have called Andy Muschietti and I'm like, we need to talk right now. I need you to make adjustments to this film. So let's fix things, because that is the perfect vehicle in which to rewrite the story and not take any criticism from the nerds or the fans or the normies. It's brilliant. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. It's going on almost 2 hours. We're going to talk about, I like to usually have a better transition, to be honest, but how can I transition this? Wait. Oh, you know, it's possible James Gunn also keeps Margot Robbie as oh my God, I just forgot her name all of a sudden. Peaks keeps Margot Robbie as Joker's girlfriend, Harley Quinn, because she's one of the few characters that is really loved. We know that he's continuing on with Peacemaker, so Peacemaker will be part of that universe. Margot Robbie is really loved as the character that is Harley Quinn. People that like Zack's stuff or didn't, everyone pretty much agrees that Margot Robbie is really good at the role of Harley Quinn. And when he did the Suicide Squad, it was the one character he sort of, you know, kept out throughout. I mean, there was other characters in there too, but she lived through everything, right? So if that's the thing, then we know I would put good odds that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn survives the Flashpoint Paradox. That said, let's transition this into another property that Margot Robbie's in, the Barbie movie. And we're going to talk about this as briefly as possible. What is the Barbie? The Barbie is a plastic doll modeled after the classic 1950s trade wife, right? Or trad wife, as the kids would say. this is not the plastic kids movie that you would expect. This movie, and I've seen all the marketing material, is just packed with a bunch of sexy neon wearing characters. There's sexual references. Margot Robbie looks fantastic. Skin tight. A lot of skin. This movie is not a kid movie. It is certainly not a kid movie. It's an adult movie. So on that note, who is it made for? I suspect that it's made for us. I think this movie is made for, it's a comedy for, the 30 to 50-year-old men. And maybe wives that have, or women that have a sense of humor. All I can tell you is this. By the end of the movie, I suspect a lot of Rule 34 forums will be exploding with Margot Robbie content. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I saw some of the behind the scenes stuff, and it's totally inappropriate. I might even like the movie, but I'll tell you this, my kids will never watch it. Ever. It will never be seen by them. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about Barbie. I had one more topic I want to talk about. Oh, Indiana Jones. I did want to briefly talk about the Indiana Jones tracking. So let's look at it real quick. It's really interesting because if you know anything about Indiana Jones, if you've been following the Indiana Jones 5 stuff, we have some friends of ours were predicting massive failure. Some people that aren't friends of ours were also saying it was pretty bad. And they were claiming that their sources, had reshoots. And if you've been following our channel, we've been pushing against that narrative. We don't know what's happening. I did get a chance to read the script. A friend of mine, I'm gonna be careful what I say here. I don't want to dox this person. A friend of mine works at a company that does work for studios for new movies that are coming out. That's all. I'm being very careful. And he sent me the script. Apparently, in order to do the work, they needed to know the story beats. He sent me the script. And I read it. Now, this was like a year and a half ago. Or no, it wasn't. It was last March. I read the script and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed it enough to make a video on our main channel where I normally never make anything that's not science fiction related. I made a video explaining how people were wrong about Indiana Jones. Because people were saying that there was time travel and that the Fleabag character was going to take over for Indy. And it's just not true. At least according to the script I read. The script I read last March had, and I'll just tell you, spoiler alert, I guess, had Indiana Jones and Fleabag teaming up, looking for this artifact, running from this Nazi scientist, and the jumps in times you see are flashbacks because it showed that Indiana Jones had been looking for this artifact for a long, long time. And he had been playing this sort of cat and mouse game with this guy for a long, long time. Throughout all of his adventures, he was looking for this device. He finally finds it. That's what pulls him out of retirement, is when Fleabag, whatever her name is, basically gives him the last piece of the puzzle he needs to go find this artifact. And of course, he runs into his nemesis. And that's pretty much the movie. There's no actual time travel. All the time jumps you see are just that. They're just flashbacks and explaining how this device has been propagating throughout history and Indy's connection to it. That's it. The script I read was great. It honored the character. It honored his last movies, and it sent him off. It sent him off in a very loving way. At no time did Fleabag pick up his hat and assume the role and replace Indiana Jones. That didn't happen. Not in the script I read. So I made a video about it, and I took the risk, and no one watched it, I don't think, because it wasn't science fiction related. Or if you were on our main channel has here, I'll show you. Our main channel has 117,000 subscribers. You would think that we can put anything out and be successful. That is not the case. If we put on anything that's not science fiction, Stargate, Star Trek related, it doesn't do well. And we know that. We just don't care. We put the work out. Even though the work to do this was intense. So this is the one I'm talking about. This is the... Why can I... My plugin's not working. There it is. This movie, this video came out. It took us a lot of work. It's roughly 15, 17 minutes long. But if you know about our old videos, our regular videos, they take hours and hours. For every minute of video, it takes us like 3 hours of work. Because it's edited. It's like produced. It's like a little doc, right? And we tried to explain how people are incorrect about this movie. But then, within weeks after this movie comes out, or this video comes out, we start getting reports from actual sources that we trust that they're reshooting stuff, and they're redoing the music, and they're making changes. And I don't know what's going on in this movie. Did they make changes after this, that make the script that I read, that negates the script that I read? It's possible. Were those changes good or bad or not? I don't know. I should tell you this, though. All the people saying that this movie sucks based on their hidden sources or these people that they can't actually talk about, they're probably getting their information from 4chan or something. Or they're making it up. Plain and simple. They're not giving you real information. They are making videos that get the most reaction from their fans. And I'm not hating the player here, but like the grift is real. Bottom line is there's a lot less to this than people are making you believe. They want you to think that they're going to kill off Indy and replace her with Fleabag, and that they're using time travel to completely erase Indiana Jones' existence, and Fleabag is now doing all the stuff that we loved, and that's just not substantiated in any way. If that is the case, I will criticize it. But as of right now, that is not what I read. That is not what I've heard from people that watch the movie, and that is plain and simple bullshit. And it's designed to get you to click their video, and that's okay. I'm not mad at them. I'm just telling you right now, it's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. So when we're going to see this movie, we did see reviews come out. We saw a bunch of people that watched it at Cannes, and they came out and they said, this movie sucked. I hate it. It was a waste of time. They didn't explain exactly why. Most of the reviews were really venomous about the movie they saw, but they didn't really explain as to why they were venomous. I think the review embargo actually makes it so they can't say as much as they probably want to. And a lot of the people that I mentioned before immediately latched onto those reviews and said, see, the Rotten Tomato score. Look at it. These reviewers hate it. We told you it was a bad movie. We told you it was going to suck. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, first off, I don't want to criticize too much here, but first off, none of these... Okay, F off, Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not doing that. None of these reviewers were ever reviewers that we trusted before. We didn't trust them before. Right? So top critics give it a 40%. That doesn't matter to me. The critic score doesn't matter to me. It's never mattered to me. Every time I go to Rotten Tomatoes, I look to the right, I look at the audience score, and I go, is this a good movie? Is it worth my time? Should I go put some effort into this? And quite frankly, if that thing is above 65%, I'll probably watch it. I have never once looked at the critic score and been like, oh no, the movie might be bad. I've never done that. No one I know does that. Critics are always full of crap. Just because they're agreeing with your narrative now doesn't mean that they're on your side or that they're good at their jobs. And I'll argue that if they're still bad at their jobs, unless all of a sudden all these critics decided to be actual critics and actually represent the audience, if they actually all decide to do that at the same moment, and this was the result, wow, great. More than likely, though, they're the same shill anti-audience representing critics that they've always been, which would mean that their dislike of the movie means the movie's probably good. It means it's probably good. They're probably mad that there wasn't more Fleabag in the movie. Or mad because some progressive checkbox was left unchecked. I don't know. But bottom line is, when I saw this score, I didn't feel bad about it. I was energized. I was like, yes, I think I was right about this movie. It's probably pretty good. It's probably a lot better than what all of my contemporaries are saying, right? Because the critic score being bad usually confirms that I'm going to enjoy the movie, right? Tell me, chat. Does the critic score for you, does a low critic score usually mean you're going to like the movie, right? Or does it mean you're going to dislike it? Do you ever choose to watch a movie based on the critic score? I don't. So if that's the case, my friends, if 99% of the time we like a movie that critics dislike, why would this time be different? Why would this one time be any different? Because some YouTubers that you like told you that Indiana Jones sucked 5 months ago before they watched it? I mean, if that's what I'm hearing, right? A lot of people are telling me it's going to suck. Indiana Jones is too old. Fleabag is going to take it. Stop. You haven't watched it yet. The people that you watch online haven't watched it yet. No one has seen it yet. I have not seen it. I read the script. From just reading the script, if it's the same script in its same form, most of those allegations are completely wrong. So, based on that information alone, you should not form a hypothesis. But I'll tell you the most damning evidence as to those people being incorrect and this movie, at the very least, being entertaining. The most damning evidence to that is the fact that the critic score is so low. If the critic score is this low, 99% of the time, I'm going to enjoy that movie. So when I see this critic score, I don't pop champagne and say, oh, it looks like everyone's right. This movie sucks. No, I say, you guys were clearly wrong. And the movie is at the very least is not woke, and it might be entertaining. At the very least. That's what I see when I see this critic score. I don't see it as a confirmation of anything. Because I've never trusted these guys. I haven't trusted critics since Roger and Ebert. I said that last week. So why would I start now? So I love this critic score. For me, it's validating. I hope that this critic score is an example of what to believe. And and when we finally see this movie on June 30th, I already have my tickets. When we do see this movie, that following Sunday, I'm going to do a popcorn power hour. Let's see. That's going to be we're going to have next 1, 2, 3, 4. So popcorn power hour number 6. That'll be 5 popcorn power hour, 5 Sundays from now. I'm going to be back here. We're going to watch that movie. I will have seen it 2 days prior. And if I'm wrong and the movie's garbage, then I will fully admit to this being one of those moments that makes no sense in history. Where I was wrong, the critics were right, and Doomcock was right, and everybody else that complained about the movie was right, and they made changes that didn't reflect the script I read, and I was wrong. I will fully admit my defeat. I will admit to my failure in translating the information provided to me. But I don't think that's the case. I think, at the very least, we're going to get a movie that's not woke. It might be a subpar adventure film. Fleabag's not going to take over for Indiana Jones, and at no time will she take his job. I believe Indiana Jones is going to coast up into the sunset with his wife on a camel, with the Indiana Jones theme playing in the background. What I think is going to happen is we're going to get a send-off for old Indiana Jones, and at the very least, it'll be entertaining. And if that's the case, I'm going to brag about it for the entire Power Hour. I guarantee, because for 2 years now, I've been fighting tooth and nail. All right. James Coleman. From John Burns. Thank you, John Burns. Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. Repeat, #Murray. I don't know. Wrecked Thoughts, you're right, dude. James Mangold did give us Logan. And I liked Logan. I did. Yes, Anthony, I like this, man. I'll treat Indy 5 like Picard Season 3. I'll have to see the content and judge for myself. Yes, that is the right mindset. And if you recall, Anthony, the way you probably found me and Shane was because we were telling everyone, dude, we saw Picard Season 3 and it's fantastic. Like 5 months before the thing came out, right? And everyone was roasting us. They're like, no, it sucks. It can't, it's gotta be horrible. Everyone was like, you're out of your mind. The first 2 seasons were garbage, blah, blah. We were the only ones standing in the gap for Picard Season 3. And we based that decision on the fact that we had seen the movie, the series. We got to watch the series like 5 months before it came out. It was one of those really rare moments where a friend of ours knew a friend of ours and also watched our stuff. And they were able to get Robert Meyer Burnett in touch with us. And Robert Meyer Burnett was like, these guys want to talk to you. And we got to connect with these people and watch the series. It's a very rare thing, especially for our channel. Like 115,000 subscribers is not a lot. But when we saw it, we were honest about it. Even though we knew, we lost like 10,000 subs. We lost like 10,000 subs when we said how good it was. We've gained more since then. But the bottom line is we saw it for ourselves. And we judged for ourselves regardless of the backlash. And I love what Gary from Red Roddick said. We arranged for Gary to watch it too. And right after we saw it, we're like, we need Gary to see this. And we were a little nervous. We're like, well, we know Gary. We like Gary. We're friends. We've been friends with Gary for 5 years. We know him personally. But he is something, he rants a lot. What if he doesn't like this and he comes out and says that it's garbage and everything we said would be negated? He's a bigger YouTuber than we are. It's going to make us look stupid. But we're taking the risk. We know Gary will speak his mind. We trust Gary. And we made sure we got him. We texted him, hey, what did you think? And then a tweet came out right afterwards. And he's like, Picard Season 3 was good. And someone asked him, someone basically said like, someone asked him a question and he said, I would rather lose my channel than lie. And that's right then when I realized that I knew that the Gary that I knew personally is the Gary that you see online. And he's one of the most genuine people you would ever know. He is genuine, trustworthy, and honest. And even though he knew he was going to get flack from his fans, he still went out there and was genuine with his answer. And it was beautiful. And a lot of people eventually came on board and watched it and loved it. That's the concept of authenticity. The one thing lacking in Hollywood, we can all agree, or one of the things lacking in Hollywood is a spirit of authenticity. There's nothing genuine about these people. They're all just sort of fake, phony, plastic lizard people, right? We got to make sure that YouTube doesn't become the same thing. YouTube should never... Our opinions should not change depending on the level of access we get. Or what package we got. What influencer package we got in the mail. When we were invited to a premiere. We were invited to Picard Season 3 premiere at the IMAX theater. We went and people called us shills. Like, why would we be shills? This is the first, aside from the Orville, this is maybe the first thing we ever got a chance to see as a premiere. It's not going to change our opinion. Our opinions have already been formed. But At no point will us getting access ever turn us into disingenuous YouTubers shilling for the studios that gave us the access. We don't care if Paramount continues to give us screeners. We're still getting screeners from Paramount. Since our connection with Paramount was set up, we were able to get screeners on whatever we want. If at any moment they pull that from us, fine. I don't care. Shane doesn't care, for sure. Like, we're going to be honest the entire time, whether we are given access or not. But we got to make sure that as YouTubers and people on in advance to other people on YouTube, it seems like they're like the toxic cancer that is Hollywood is following us into YouTube. I'm not going to mention names, but there are some people that are clearly reviewing things based on their access. I'm not going to say their names. If you know me, I've said their names hundreds of times. I'm not going to say it here. They are definitely not genuine in their reviews. At the very least, they softball all their answers and they make sure that their content is in no way or can be in no way deemed as offensive to the people that are giving them access or influencer packages. I gotta tell you, if you follow a YouTuber that got one of those big giant like Marvel kits, that means that Marvel really likes them and likes that their opinion of them, and that's why they got that. If they got that kit, that means that Marvel knows they're gonna get a return on that $500 influencer kit, right? We got to make sure that YouTube doesn't turn into that. It can't just be a bunch of fake people hired by Hollywood to put on a pair of glasses, don a crappy mic, and talk like they're talking into a webcam when they're really just being controlled by the studios. The one thing that YouTube has going for it is that it's authentic for the most part and genuine, and that the responses you get from people like me, some guy in a speech impediment in his little home studio talking to you about the movies he loves. That is what makes YouTube special. And you can watch me and not enjoy my take on it. Maybe you watch Robert Meyer Burnett or Shane or Gary or Salty Nerds or name all the people we hang out with. Maybe you like their version of it. But as long as it's genuine, like don't get tricked by don't get tricked by the John Campias and the Grace Randolphs and the Steve Schutz. Don't get tricked by the people who are being at the very least they're being slightly controlled by the studios that give them access. At the very least, at the most, they are straight up just puppets. Don't get tricked by them. They might look better, they might sound better, they might have a cooler studio. It's possible. But make sure that when you watch people, you're watching it for the authenticity, because the more successful, truly genuine, authentic YouTubers become, the less successful the fake shills will be able to, the less market share the shills will be able to take over. Like Gary. Gary's a great guy. Like if you're not watching Nerderotic, go check him out. Salty Nerds, Chris, Alpha Critic, OMD reviews, like you've seen our show, all the guys, Midnight's Edge, these guys have good, like they're authentic. We don't always agree on the same stuff. We don't always agree politically on stuff, that's for sure. There's things I like that they don't like, whatever, but their opinions are never formed because they benefit from their opinions. Their opinions are always authentic and genuine, and they're formed by their authentic, genuine takes. And that's really important. That's the last I'll say about it. Huh. Yeah, I got that, man. Yes, I got my entry tickets already. Oh, so on that note, so we got one last thing about Indiana Jones. I don't know how I went off this tangent, dude. I went way ham on this. I'm sorry. We got some predicting numbers here. So here's the prediction for Indiana Jones 5. Opening weekend range, 81 to 111 million. Domestic total range, 225 to 380 million. So that's actually pretty low for an Indiana Jones movie, guys. Oh my God. That's low. But I think it's doable, especially considering I went to go get tickets already. Like, it's already out. Like, you can go buy tickets. And it looks like they've already reached the low end of their opening predictions. A month ahead of time, they've already reached the 80 million mark for tickets for that weekend, for pre-sales. That's incredible. That is incredible. So, at the very least, they're going to hit their prediction. It's going up against this movie, Teenage Kraken, which has an opening weekend range of 13 million to 18 million, so it's going to smash that movie. Here's the actual numbers. Looks like The Flash is also tracking at like 85 to 120 million. I'm pretty sure that number is going to be wrecked because it's Father's Day weekend. They're not accounting for that. Like, they're legitimately not accounting for the fact that it's a Father's Day weekend. Like, that's a big deal. Most of the time, their numbers never take that into account. Looks like The Flash and Indiana Jones are pretty much on track with the same numbers, except for Indiana Jones has already reached its low end prediction, and The Flash has not. And The Flash comes out in 2 weeks. Indiana Jones comes out in 4. So I don't know what that says about Indiana Jones, but okay. That's it, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I ain't missing super chats or anything, right? No, I didn't. Okay, thank you for everyone that came today. Do me a favor. I'm trying to get as much content for this as possible. I want to only talk about the stuff that you care about, right? And I don't want to talk about just stuff that I like. I want us to like have a conversation. I want this to be a little different than our other shows where we can just have a conversation and actually talk about things. So that said, I need information. I need your brilliant minds to inform me of the topics throughout the week that you want to cover on Sundays, right? So how do you do that? If you go to our Discord, it's discord.io/popcast. There's a link in the, I'm going to do that giveaway pretty soon, Archmage. Hang in there. There's a link in the description. If you go there, there's a channel in our podcast called PPH, and you can pop your topics in there, and I will add them to a poll at the end of the week, and we'll all agree on which topics we want to talk about. Or also on Twitter, either way. But if we do that, we'll be able to figure out, all the topics together, and we'll make every Sunday a nice group conversation. Now, before I leave, last but not least, I'm going to do the Discord giveaway. So this is for XP. If you are in our Discord, then you're trying to get that XP right now, because XP means you can win the Bluetooth thing or bragging rights, whatever you want to call it, right? Here we go. I'll put your names in here, and we're going to do a random drawing for 100 XP. Come on up. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm loading it up. Okay. There it is. I can't do it in here, can I? Maybe I can. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to do it on. I'm gonna have to do it at the wheel. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do it at the wheel. Do I have the wheel on here? I better have the wheel. I'll do it with the wheel. Okay, let me load the wheel up real quick. Where's the wheel at? What the hell's the wheel? Hold up, guys. Sorry. This is bad. This is bad pod. I'm sorry. I had this already set up, but then I realized I can't actually pop this into YouTube, so I gotta pop it into the page up here. Remainder. How did it go? Oh my God, I'm in the wrong stupid thing. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take your names from the chat. Oh, we got a super chat from Kenneth Roke. $11 from Kenneth Roke. Thank you, sir. Love you, man. Kenneth Roke has been watching us since, damn, you've been watching us for a long time, bro. Since Mixed Teas, I believe. Okay. Thank you, Kenneth. All right, I found the wheel. Jeez. I thought I found the wheel. How did it go? There it is. All right, so I'm going to pop all your names in here. And I'm just going to spin this sucker, dude. And see what happens. Where the hell? Jeez. Actually, I'm going to, instead of doing it that way, we're going to talk a little more, and I'll make it so you guys can enter it manually. I'm going to sit there and type all these things. I should have had this set up before, but I didn't. Because I'm not too bright sometimes. Here we go. Oh my God. Where is this stupid thing? This is ridiculous. This is silly. I can't find the stupid giveaway now either. It's crazy. It's frustrating me so much right now. What? That's crazy. Okay, 1 second, bro. I'll find this. Just give me a second. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Damn it. This is nuts. Oh, it's crazy. I can't find it. It's really frustrating. Jeez. Jesus. I'll be right back. All right, screw this. I can't figure it out. So, everyone in Discord right now is going to get 100 XP. And next Sunday, I will figure out how to do this so that no one has to wait. This is retarded. I don't know what happened. I had it set up and I realized I couldn't connect it to YouTube, so it doesn't matter. If you're in Discord right now, I'm giving you 100 XP just for being here on stream. So just tell me. I'll be in Discord right afterwards. And just message me in PPH, and I will have Shane give you each 100 XP. And this is it. Yes, this is the type of quality content Disney paid us to show for. Damn, this thing fell apart in the last couple minutes, didn't it? I'm sorry, everyone. I had it set up, and then I realized that it was set up via Discord, and then I wasn't going to be able to actually show that on the screen, and I didn't think about that when I set it up, so that was a mistake. Anyone in Discord right now is getting 100 XP, and I'll figure out the actual giveaway next Sunday. All right, that's it, guys. We're going to bounce out. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget, I need your topics throughout the week. Please drop whatever articles or movies or trailers, whatever you want to discuss. Drop them into the PPH channel on Discord. The link's in the description, or discord.io/popcast. And we'll vote on them at the end of the week before we do the show. That said, we'll be back tomorrow for Raw Rant at 2 o'clock. I think we're coming back for Raw Rant. Shane has not talked about that, but we should be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock with Jake McDormand from Limitless and Mrs. Davis. And that's it. Love you guys. I'm going to go hit up Disney and tell them that I got to give them a discount for this episode. It didn't work out. Didn't work in their favor. That's it. All right, guys. Love you guys so much. Right afterwards, come in Discord so I can give you guys XP. And have an awesome night. I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock for Raw Rant with Jake McDormand, whatever. That guy.